So for our project, we decided to volunteer at the Paul Center of Boston. It is a project that we did in conjunction with our school Key Club. So first, we applied for money from the Empowered Citizen Grant, and then we raised the exact same amount, but at our school. And we used all of that money and brought it to the Paul Center where we paid for dinner, and we went in for an evening to go and serve that meal.
So, at our school, I guess it's kind of a long answer, but the way I got involved with the Paul Center was that we need to do a certain number of community service hours, freshman, sophomore, and junior year. So my sophomore year, I was kind of dreading doing my community service. I didn't know what I was going to do, and my mom invited me to go to the Paul Center with her because it's right near her work. And when I went, the one thing I remember was not only did I help the community, but they also said, "Oh, thank you so much. We really appreciate this. We're so glad you came. People like you make our day better." And it made me feel so much better. And it's kind of a selfish reason, but I realized that I enjoyed it so much, and that there's so many kids in our school that also need to get community service done. So junior year, which would have been last year, we took our Key Club there to do the same thing, and everyone loved that. And I just wanted to give back to the community more, and we decided that since it's really hard for them to get funding, they're like a volunteer organization, everyone who works there is a volunteer, we sponsor a dinner. So they said the cost of their dinner is about $300, and it serves 160 people. So we decided that in addition to going there as volunteers, we'd also help them offset their costs, so that way they could spend the money on perhaps another dinner and make it just a little bit easier.
So for our night of service, we had our entire Key Club arrive for dinner. We started by setting up the place. There were some actual regular volunteers that were with us, so we worked with them. When the guests started arriving, they sat down and we served them drinks, and eventually we served them the food. And at the very end, we actually took some Hershey Kisses that were extras from our fundraising at school, and we passed them out to the guests themselves. And they all said thank you. They were very appreciative, and it was just great seeing all the smiles on everyone's face.
So for our project, I think I mentioned this earlier, but the best thing was just having people be so genuinely thankful, where there are people who otherwise wouldn't be cared for, wouldn't have an opportunity to eat, and just having them come to you and saying, "Wow, you made my day. You made my day so much better. I'm so glad you were here. Thank you so much for coming." It made it feel much more tangible, and like we were actually making a difference in the community instead of just, oh, I have to go get my hours done. We just put in service somewhere. It really felt like it was a connection, like we were making a real difference.
Well, we decided to fundraise because I felt personally that if you work for something and you say pay off, you can appreciate it much more. So it's easy to just apply for a grant and get it awarded to you, but it's an extra step to go fundraise and match that exact same grant. So it was a way to teach our Key Club how to fundraise as well, but overall it made us appreciate the community service project much more than we normally would have. So for our fundraiser, we decided to use Valentine's Day because it's a very popular holiday. It was called a Candygrams fundraiser, so what we had were little organza gift bags, and we stuffed them with like 4 Hershey's Kisses. So what we allowed students of our school to do was purchase these organza gift bags, and they would send these Candygrams to their friends, their significant others, and even teachers, and we informed them of the organization that would be receiving the funds, and we had a lot of success with it because we popularized it around our school.
The one thing I noticed about the grant application process was that it was actually much easier than it sounds. So if you're told, oh, go write a grant proposal that has details about this, logistical information, the intent, the purpose, all this, it sounds so difficult. But I know that when I sat down to write it, it only took about 45 minutes. And then also Dawn, who's the grant director, was incredibly helpful the whole time. We were allowed to send in a preliminary application, and she reviewed it. So anything that we were having trouble with, she was always there for us and supportive. And the grant was just a great opportunity to get something started. So I know at our school it's really difficult to get students involved in service, but when you have an idea for a service project and you can get the money donated so that you can actually get it off the ground and get started, that makes it a lot easier for everybody to get involved and perhaps create a sustainable project in the future.
I think future applicants shouldn't be scared of asking for help on projects like this. For me, I was really afraid of the grant process because it's something totally new to me. But I think future applicants shouldn't shy away from that just because it's something they're not familiar with. They should definitely contact Dawn for help and also talk to past recipients of the grant because that gave us a lot of inspiration for what we wanted to do.
Yeah, and for us, we both applied for it together. So if you have any friends that you're interested in doing it with, or like Irene said, if you want to contact anybody who's done it before, Irene and I both got the grant this year, and I believe Summer got it a couple years ago. And all of the adults, especially Dawn and the Mass Youth Leadership Foundation, are really, really helpful and supportive, and they'll be more than willing to help you get your project started.